You are listening to SpeakonRadio.com. Be seen, be heard, be present. The place where entrepreneurs, business owners, speakers, authors, actors, politicians, creative people and media experts are empowered and inspired to broadcast their passion. SpeakonRadio.com is a radio platform that has you in mind, bringing you not only inspiration, but practical solutions and opportunities to release your greatness. Tune in now at SpeakonRadio.com. That is, SpeakonRadio.com.
Wow. Welcome. It's another great day on Speak on Radio, and I think I have joined Marina away from home, and I am live from LA speaking business world. And over in LA, permanent residence, actually not permanent, away from home is Marina.
Good morning. Good morning from Los Angeles. It's a bright morning out here, and this morning is very special for me personally because we have on the line somebody who brightened up my life. James, are you here with us yet?
Yes. Greetings from Manila. It's Friday night. Good to talk to you, Marina.
Welcome, James. How are you? How is Manila? I know it's evening, but how is Manila? I always wanted to stop by, and each time I was flying over, I was thinking, I have to do it next time. So
Manila,
here we are.
You are always welcome in Manila. You have a home in Manila. It's a wonderful country, wonderful people. It's hot 24/7. But we do have some rain today. There's a typhoon passing nearby, so we're getting some of the residual showers. But it's always a wonderful day in the Philippines.
I'm sure with you being there, everything is better for the locals. I know you are at the heart of great events and the heart of great initiatives, and local people always look up to you for inspirations, and is the international community who is looking up for what's your next blog about, what is your next event about. You are the Maverick of branding, and I wonder if you could tell us a little bit of your story, as much as you want to share, because it is a fantastic story, and I'm sure that our listeners will benefit greatly from understanding where are you going.
Well, that's the beauty of serendipity, which is a concept I very strongly believe in. None of us probably knows where we're going. The beauty of the concept is your life can turn out a lot better than you even think, and that's how I would describe my life. It's been better thus far than I could have ever imagined. My dreams 30 years ago was to be a track and field coach, to teach junior high in Cincinnati, Ohio, make no money, but be happy. And I started my career in P&G as a fitness instructor, basically teaching overweight executives how to lose weight. And on one of those days that can change the course of your life, I was testing a brand manager, testing his fitness levels, testing his body fat levels. And he made a comment to me. He said, "You ought to try what I do. You seem like you would do it well." And I asked him what he did, and he said, "I'm in brand management," which is basically the team that builds and manages brands in the company. And I asked him, "Well, what do you guys do?" And he described the work, and it sounded really good to me. So he helped me get the paperwork done. I sent in my CV. I took all these tests. I interviewed, and I made it all the way to this final interview where, 3 people interview you in a panel, and I thought it went well. And I went home and realized this is 1985. There's no internet. There's no SMS. There's no email. You wait for a letter in the mail. And a week or so later, I get the letter, and I rip it open, and it's this classic nice but not so nice letter that you can get from a company. The opening paragraph tells me how great I am and how interesting I am. And paragraph 2 tells me, but after careful consideration, we don't see a career for you in P&G, so have a nice life. And now I was raised in a world that anything is possible, and I was too stupid, I would say, to realize I should have accepted that letter. So I wrote a letter back to P&G, and I said, you made a mistake. Interviewing is not a science, it's an art. I want another chance. And they were so flabbergasted that this 21-year-old guy writes his letter demanding another interview that they brought me back for a second set of interviews. And in that set of interviews, illustrating the art form of interviewing, the three people I interviewed with that time decided to make me an offer. And I started in 1985 in the U.S. business in marketing, and I found that I did have this knack for brand building. And from there, I went around the world to Morocco, to Poland, to Western Europe, ended up in the Philippines, and then left and went to Coke in Africa, and then came back to the Philippines with BAT. So that's kind of the journey. And, there's some big lessons in there. The biggest lessons are that I can teach a lot of things in my life. I can teach people how to run or jump higher. I can teach people how to give presentations or how to look at advertising. But the most important thing is desire, and that has to come from within. And I can't teach desire. And if a young person has desire, they're 50% of the way to success in life.
Wow, Jim, I always been repeating myself what you taught me about everyday people and their significance when it comes to moving on, to making that move, that going to move them to where they want to be in life. And your personal life has been always a great source of inspiration, not only for me, but for people around the world. And I don't know if there is yet a country where you haven't inspired people, but I was wondering if you could tell us what were the significant influences in your life that brought you to where you are?
Well, again, it's a great question, and it comes back in some respects to serendipity. One of the great influences in my life is someone who doesn't even know that they were a great influence, and it was an old sales manager in the U.S. who was like 65 years old when I was 28, and I had demanded from Procter & Gamble I wanted to have an overseas assignment. And like many things in life, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And for a year I was demanding, and then suddenly they come to me and they say, we want you to go to Morocco. Now, I had been sitting there expecting maybe I would go to London or to Paris or to a quote unquote a more Western and normal assignment. But Morocco was completely off my radar screen and took me by surprise. I went on a look-see visit to Morocco. There was not very much English spoken at all. It was a completely different culture from what I grew up in. There were camels and herds of sheep on the streets and people wearing jalabas and, hearing, it's just a totally different culture. And I came back from a 3-day visit in complete culture shock, and I was going to turn down the assignment. I was frankly frightened, and I was scared because of the unknown. And this old sales guy comes by my office, and right when I was about ready to make the phone call and say I'm not going, he stopped by my office in a quirk of fate. And he says to me, you're not going to turn this thing down, are you? And I hum-hawed around, and I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it, maybe for my family. And he yelled at me, and he said, look at me. I'm 65 years old. And let me tell you something. The only thing I regret in my life are the risks I didn't take. You have a chance to go live in Africa. Don't be stupid. You take that assignment, you go to Africa, you see the world, and you won't regret anything. And I changed my mind literally 5 minutes later, and I called and said I'm coming. And that was 25 years ago. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I have tried to reach out to him a couple of times and say, I want you to know that little bit of advice changed the course of my life completely. And, sometimes I think all of us that have a little bit of perspective have an obligation to share it because you don't know who you touch. It's not always the people that you know best that have the influence on you. Sometimes it's that random person that crosses your path and changes the course of your life.
This is so profound, Jim, and definitely it is valid for what happened to me and how you touch my own life. And since that day in February back in 2013, when you sat me down and you taught me a lesson or two, I definitely started looking at life and in a different way. And you said to me once that in a room with 200 people or 300 people or 1,000 people, each person is a brand. And that stayed with me for a long time, and is going to be with me forever, because you were so right. Absolutely every single person I meet, people I never met before, including myself, is a brand. And turn out that they decide how far they want to go to broadcast their passion, to unleash their desire. And I was wanting to, for a long time, I wanted to ask you, based on your life experiences, based on your background, what are the most exciting visions? I know you have more than one for the future. What excites you at present?
The biggest thing that excites me is the concept of legacy and, making a difference in the world. I think all people are confronted with three fundamental choices in this life. You can make the world a better place, or you can make the world a worse place, or you can leave the world completely unaffected by your existence. And that's a choice that we make, and it's a choice that we make every day. And, I want this world, this beautiful world, to be a little bit better because Jim Lafferty was here at one time. And I try to conduct myself in a manner that says, I'll contribute to the good things that this world has to bring. And when you have a vision like that, everything becomes clear. When you're walking up the street and you see a poor woman with a baby in the Philippines who has been ostracized because she had a child out of wedlock, you don't just ignore her and walk by her. You stoop down and you might give her the money out of your pocket. It means that when you have the chance to mentor a child who is a complete sponge and wants a few minutes of your time to listen and to learn something, you spend the time to help that child. That means when you start up a business or you run a business, you ask yourself the question every day. It's not just about profit. How do I take this business and make things better? And, I've had a lot of people confront me and say, yeah, but you worked in tobacco. And I say, you're right. I did work in tobacco. But you know what? Tobacco is going to be there whether Jim Lafferty's alive and in the business or not. And so I made a decision that we should have good, responsible people in tobacco. And I would be one of those people. And I think the government of the Philippines, most of the government would tell you, this is the guy in tobacco we trust more than anyone else because he's honest and he's done the right thing to keep kids from smoking, to put the right legislation in place, to raise more taxes for the government to fund universal health care. And if I wasn't there fighting and being the only tobacco executive to support these initiatives, they wouldn't have happened. And so I went into a controversial industry to do good and to do good. And, we think that the laws that we put in place save 90,000 lives a year in the Philippines because it reduces smoking incidents. And I'm very proud of that. I'm proud that you can still go into a controversial business, but do good in that business, because if I quit tomorrow, it's still going to be here. And, a number of the NGOs that are here recognize that. And they say, we hope you stay forever because you're the kind of guy we can work with and you're responsible. And you try to do the right thing for the country and for the people. So, doing good and making the world a better place takes a million shapes and forms. When you approach your life